to get there and be so incredibly annoyed that Mantis knows what you're doing. I don't think that's fun. I think it is fun to be able to say, oh, and did you know that if you switch the controller, like that's what's fun.
Yes. In Metal Gear Solid 1. Yes, that is fun.
No, the game's not fun. It's not the game that's fun. It's the talking about the game that's... And this is what I'm saying. I know this is a hot take, but I think I'm right. So, Hideo Kojima...
Oh, yeah,
he went from making beloved, constrained Metal Gear games to making Death Stranding, which is either brilliant or completely self-indulgent, depending on who you ask.
Right.
I think you can tell where I fall on that particular spectrum. And I think there's something suspicious about how every Kojima game feels like it needs to justify its own existence with lengthy cutscenes explaining why it's important. So I guess the question is, what do you guys think? Is he gaming Stanley Kubrick? Or is he gaming's most successful, pretentious film student?
No, that goes to just Detroit Become Human, period. I'm not even going to mention names for that, but everyone involved in that. I'm kidding.
Poor David.
I think that's actually a really good comparison because I think both of them are people who really wanted to make movies and couldn't, right? Because like I think all of the what's the name of his company?
Kojima?
No.
Quantic Dreams?
Yeah, is it Quantic Dreams? Yeah, so like all of the Quantic Dreams games, you know, even going back to when he was working with David Bowie and all that, right? Like they're all movies that had to have sort of gameplay shoved in there somehow and made to work. And a lot of Kojima games feel the same way to me.
Oh, okay.
I was talking about this with Kevin, the Golden Bolt, because he's been playing Death Stranding too. So I was just watching him play for a few hours last night over Discord. And we both kind of came to the conclusion that people take him more seriously than I think even he takes himself seriously at a point. So I do wonder how much of it is just the weird audience view of him impacting people's view of him. Because even in Death Stranding 2, there's that I don't remember if it's the character's name, but there's an actor playing a guy with a headband. He's kind of like the Mads Mikkelsen character in this new game.
Yeah. And you mean Metal? Yeah, it's Solid Snake.
He's clearly Solid Snake.
Yeah. I don't know anything about the meta narrative around that stuff. That's probably the case. But basically, Norman Reedus gets like slurped into this guy's like purgatory or something. They start shooting at each other. Sam Porter Bridges Norman Reedus, knocks him out, and then the guy in like Italian starts trying to say Nirvana, and then Hideo Kojima's 24 frames per second talking doll character on Sam's wrist starts going, Sam, is he saying Nirvana? And it was the most like in your face, immediate, you had no time to even think about what was being communicated to you thing I've seen in quite a while. And that's even by the standards of his games, which tend to do this.
Yeah.
And it was after this like huge graphically impressive section that was just like pushing the system to whatever limits it has, right? All the hyperbole you would say. Beautiful segment of graphical show-offery, just to be undercut by a character immediately spelling out the story thing that's happening. And I'm like, I don't know if even Kojima is like, oh, I'm telling high art here. I think people just think he is.
I think like moments like that kind of call back to Metal Gear Solid, because there's a lot of moments where like they do a lot of exposition, but people are like, that doesn't make any sense. So I feel like it comes to like him feeling like, I want to make sure that my point gets across. So I'm going to not only show them, but tell them right after it happened.
I don't think so. I don't think that's it at all. I really don't. Well, I think that is the take that gamers have given him, right? Ooh. I think that's the thing where it's like, no, really, he's just a misunderstood auteur. He's really a genius. I think Kevin's absolutely right. This man is a dog poster. I don't know what the right word would be. What is dog poster?
Dog poster?
Right? Like, you know what I'm saying? Right? Like, he's clearly just bad at he's doing these things as memes. He's doing it to just kind of take the piss. And I think it's shown by the fact that, you know, if you go bathing in Death Stranding 2 and look up at the stars, Hideo Kojima's vase is just in the stars staring at you while you're bathing, or the fact
I can't tell if that's real or not.
It's right, or the fact that Norman Reedus will punch you if you look at his junk, or the fact that all these things are just, they're clearly not art, right? Like that's not.
But how is it not artistic?
Well, why not? Right, that goes into the gaming arts thing, and I'm not trying to get. I'm just saying, like, it's clearly not intended to be a high art.
I'm just asking, like, for you, why is it not art? Like, I'm just curious.
Well, it's like it feels like clearly intended to be entertainment first and foremost, right? Like that is all it is, and it's nothing more than that. I don't think he cares for it to be more than. If he did, he wouldn't put Jeff Keighley and Conan O'Brien in it, right? Like that's not how you make art. You just you're doing things that are fun, and you're using your space as a quote auteur to go meet cool people and watch films before they come out and like live a good life, and that's fine. I think Kevin's super right. Right. I think that this is not, he's not like both. He is a frustrated filmmaker who happens to work in games. Right. But also he's just kind of taking advantage of doing all of it, and I think if you go into it with the understanding that he is being pretentious for fun, it's probably a better experience overall, right? If you go into this and go, this is going to be bad. This is going to be like watching a Uwe Boll film, right? Like, I don't expect for this to be well written. I know it's not going to make a whole lot of sense. Things are stupid. Quiet is a perfect example. We talked about Quiet in the pre-show here on Twitch. Quiet's a perfect example because it's just kind of dumb, right? Like, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And if you think about it too much, it's just like, no, he clearly just wanted to make a half-naked girl. And he needed to come up with a reason for why he could make a half-naked girl, and she would go into battle with no clothes on, and he was like, she needs air on her skin because she's a frog. Okay, fine, whatever, right? Like, that's fine.
Well, you must have forgotten about the 108-year-old code talker who explained Quiet and why she had a dance scene behind bars in front of everyone on Mother Base in the rain.
And there's like, oh, this is nice. Now, this is coming from someone who like loves Kojima and like grew up with like Metal Gear is one of his favorite series. Like I understand like it's a little bit of a callback because it's like, oh, frog, and now that's why we have all these other animals with code names. Like anyway, it doesn't matter. I think for me, the thing is, I think like you said, people take his stuff too seriously. And I don't think it's this bad, but like I kind of sometimes equate a lot of people that I've seen on like social media that like back this man up. They kind of have like the same energy as those in the Snyderverse, and not as bad in any way, shape, or form. But no, this is coming from someone who loves Kojima. Like I genuinely enjoy Death Stranding. I'm excited to play Death Stranding too, but I see people that go a little too hard up to bat for him. That they're like, I'm not saying like, they are exactly like the people inside, the Snyderverse people, but it's one of those like same energy.
You're on point. Yeah. There's
it's the same energy, similar energies. Yeah. And it's like, you don't have to go to war for this, man. Like you can calm down a little bit. You can.
It's interesting. I wonder how selective the memory is, or maybe like the way the order you experience these games maybe shapes your view. Right. Because for me, I started with MGS4, arguably the worst place. But the first like hour of that game is Snake going through like a Middle Eastern war zone. There's like this.
Sorry, what?
Yeah, there's like this woman singing, and it's like very serious. And you're like, oh man, Metal Gear, huh? And then an hour in, the dude shits himself in a barrel, and then rolls around in the barrel full of shit. Yeah. And then Snake's like, I could do that too. And then you start crawling around in a barrel. And I feel like that correctly set my expectations for every single Kojima game ever. Mm-hmm. But then some people are like, well, he's just, he's basically a prophet, like he predicted the misinformation age and COVID-19. Like, I think he just likes reading about esoteric topics and putting them into his games. I'm not sure it's like much deeper than that.
Yeah. And also Metal Gear Solid 2 was not well received when it came out. Like people look back on it now and are very appreciative, but I remember like being on the internet back then.
Sean, do you mean the high art game where you crawl over the pipe as Raiden and a guard pisses on you over the edge of the base?
And you run around naked? Yeah. And you do like cartwheels as you're naked?
This is what I mean, right? Like that's it. It's just, that's what I'm saying when it's not it. The eye rolling enhances the experience of Kojima, right? And I think I have 2 hot takes, right? And I know these are hot takes because I've said these before, and people are like, whoa!
You should post them on Reddit. Post them on Reddit.
First one is that every Kojima game is better as a cultural artifact than as a game. It is more fun to discuss Metal Gear, to discuss Death Stranding, to discuss these. It's more fun to talk about it than it is to play them. Almost 100% of Kojima games are more fun to talk about than they are to play. I don't think there's a single one that I would rather actually boot up that game, right, and go through the slog of playing through a Kojima game, okay? 37 hours of cutscenes of people, I've got it, right? Like, I don't want that. I don't actually think it's fun to get there and be so incredibly annoyed that Mantis knows what you're doing. I don't think that's fun. I think it is fun to be able to say, oh, and did you know that if you switch the controller, like, that's what's fun.
Yes. In Metal Gear Solid 1. Yes, that is fun.
No, the game's not fun. It's not the game that's fun. It's the talking about the game that's... And this is what I'm saying. I know this is a hot take, but I think I'm right. I think this is a hot take where I am just like the correct one and everybody else is wrong.
It's okay to be wrong sometimes.
Right. It is okay for you to be wrong sometimes, and I'm glad that we've arrived at this.
Yes.
So that is hot take.
I'm with both of you somehow at the same time.
I'm with both of you. But also, knowing that you played Metal Gear Solid 4 first and foremost, I see you in a new light, Chris, and I don't know if our friendship will ever be the same.
That's part of my hot take. I think some people just spend too much time debating over where to start, and sometimes you should just jump into something and see where it takes you. Because it was inscrutable, and I could not decipher it, that it made me play the other games, whereas if I started with 1, I might have went like, okay, I get it. But 4 was so stupid and so ridiculous that I was like, I had to see how it got here, because what on earth am I playing?
Yeah, play Kingdom Hearts.
Well, you wouldn't know that. Marty, what was your second hot take?
Yes.
Well, so before I tell you that, I have a question for the audience, and you can leave it in the comments down below. You can tweet us, whatever you want to do. I'm curious, and I think that this is, be honest, okay? I want you to picture the David Beckham meme. Be honest, okay?
Okay.
When was the last time any of you actually finished a Kojima game? Be honest. All right. And my second hot take, all right? My second hot take is I know this is a hot take as well. Okay. People yell at me all the time for this one. Kojima was better under Konami because Konami reined him in. Konami made him make a playable game. Konami said, no, you can't do that. You can't do that. You need to finish this thing, and it needs to be playable. Most recently, during the Death Stranding 2, presser that he was on, this insane person goes out there and he says, hey, yeah, so, boy, during all of the playtesting, people were really enjoying Death Stranding 2. It was good, and I hated that. I hated it. So I made it worse. Like, objectively, I did all I could to make this game worse because I don't want it to be mainstream. That's crazy. That's a crazy take from a crazy person saying crazy things, right? And so, it needs to be reined in, right? Konami reined him in, and they said, no, you need to make games, and you can't do that, and you can't be like insane. And I think that Kojima needed that, and he was always better when he had these constraints, and we ended up with better games that people now look at as saying, oh, these are incredible games. These are the best games ever, blah, blah, blah. Kojima, what a genius. Because somebody was there saying, stop being so Kojima.
That is an interesting take, because we're talking like 20, 30 years versus now 2 games as of like a week ago.
Yeah. And also, and I see, because again, I haven't played Death Stranding 2 yet. Like, Death Stranding 1, definitely you can see like he has a lot more just do whatever you want in the beginning. And that's a lot of people that play Death Stranding for the first time. You can tell whether someone has finished Death Stranding or not by saying, hey, do you know this part? Okay, that's when it gets good. If you can make it there, cool. If not, well, then you're missing out on like more of the game.
In chapter 3, basically.
And I feel like, because what you brought up is, Konami, while I have issues with Konami, they did do a really good job reining him in. And sometimes you need that with like directors. And that goes even like in film and whatnot. You need people to pull back. Not to say, it's just like, hey, you're off course. Bring it back. Put it back in the line. Just let's get it back on track. Good idea. Write that down, but let's get back on track. So you kind of do need that. And I agree with that. God, I just don't know.
But also, that's Sean's favorite game.
No.
I get this hot take. I feel that PT is a good thing PT was canceled, right? Because that Silent Hills would have been bad, right?
What?
Because it's Kojima, it wouldn't have been good.
But it would have been Kojima with Konami.
He over-explains everything. The reason that it was going to, people look at PT and go like, wow, this is a lost masterpiece, is because he never got to explain anything. That's the hot take. It's hotter.
I will say, I don't know how Silent Hills could have lived up to the everything around PT, regardless.
Right, exactly. Yeah,
even if it wasn't a Kojima-esque kind of thing in the way you're saying, I don't know how that could have been a thing where people are like, wow, that lived up to everything I had in my head about whatever that was.
Whatever the
Because also PT was so
PT would have been a failure.
Different. Yeah.
Or Silent Hills, rather, would have been a failure compared to PT, no matter what. People would have looked at it badly, right? Like, I think that maybe this is the third hot take on the hot take train, but I think it's a good thing it never existed because, boy, it never would have lived up to that. Yeah.
I'm curious, what was the last Kojima game you played?
I played Death Stranding. That game sucked.
Did you put 150 hours into Phantom Pain like the rest of us?
I'm not one of these people who's willing to do that. Like, I'll give a game 5 hours. I'm pretty comfortable saying, you know what, I accept that it takes 5 hours to play a game. The thing is that Death Stranding apparently takes 15 to 20 hours to get good, and I have other games to play. I can go watch a movie. I can do a lot of other things rather than put in an extra 15 hours to get to the part where it actually turns into Mario, whatever the game was. What was the Strand versus Mario? Like, I just don't need that. I can get that from Mario right away.
God, I'm just imagining Donkey Kong versus Mario, and now it's Sam Porter Bridges as Donkey Kong, just carrying Pauline in like the BB tank. Thank you for that.
We got to hold L2 and R2 or else you'll fall over, Sean. Strand vs. Mario game.
I'm looking that up right now.
Odyssey?
No, the one where you play against other people. They help you.
Death Stranding.
It was a little side. No. Wonder.
Oh, okay.
Oh, Mario Wonder?
Yeah, where you play and other people are in the background and they help you out.
Okay, yeah, okay. Yeah, I was like...
Yeah, you can't get peed on in that one, so I didn't play it. Yeah.
I was actually thinking, is there like a Mario thing I missed in Death Stranding? What the piss? But
well, there is a Mario reference.
Well, yes, but I meant
what's her name? Says like Mario and Princess Peach, Sean. Do you get it?
Oh.
That's like another thing from like, how serious are we taking this guy?
Princess Peach. Yeah,
I guess if I were to like sum it up, right? Like I never hear people say they replay a Kojima game, right?
What?
Like people don't do that. They don't.
Metal Gear fans play those games over and over.
No.
Yeah,
we're not talking about super fan. We're not talking about super. I mean, like,
we're not talking about the people who do apply to this thing. We're talking about the people who don't apply specifically.
Not even super fans. Regular fans do that.
No, nobody plays. Nobody replays a Kojima game. Nobody's like, oh man, I can't wait to replay this game. No, nobody does that.
Yes, they do.
They don't do it. I've never heard it. It doesn't happen.
Me. I'm not a super fan, but I played through it a few times.
Like,
this empirical evidence is incorrect.
Gosh, what you threw wrong, incorrect. You lied.
Oh, I'm just saying they're not games people replay. And I think that's all you need to say about it.
Gosh. Powerful statement.